Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the third part of our English language stream here. We'll try to stream here on Instagram. We've planned, we scheduled our English language stream devoted to the situation in Russian politics right now. Unfortunately, we were unable to stream on our YouTube channel, or our English language this YouTube channel, despite of the fact that we had only 5 viewers. We still had problems created by YouTube. We are sure that these were problems by the YouTube, not by technical issues with the internet or connection or something. Thus we will be streaming here with a review of the political situation in Russia and the differences between United Russia political party and other political parties that we have, and all the general situation that we have in Russia. This video, I guess, will be uploaded further on our English language channel, but right now we'll try to discuss the situation here, or just give a brief outlook. So let me please remind you that I'm the member and the spokesperson for the International Public Movement's Politics 2.0, and we here in our streams always review things from the point of view of Politics 2.0, a scientific concept. We are just citizens, we are just law-abiding citizens, we are no officials, no members of political parties, no members of some non-governmental organizations or like civil institutions, political institutions or something. We are just citizens living our lives. We are trying to make ends meet. We are trying to understand how to survive in this current situation where we are, we see that life is like falling apart, and we see that our political corporation, those who make up these political parties, this administration, criminal administration, governmental organizations, they make a kind of corporation which is closed and which is kind of drifting away from us, from the people. And according to the constitution, we the people are the only source of power, and we the people are those who execute the authority either through governmental bodies or directly. And since we see we cannot execute our authority through governmental bodies because we have no control over them, we have no feedback from them, and they do not take feedback from us, we need to somehow execute the authority directly, and that is why we need to understand what is going on, how things look, and what's really happening in Russia, and what we actually can do. And that is actually our point of view, the point of view of those who are trying to figure out how to influence on the situation and what impact the situation provides upon us and upon our lives. And we do understand that state is the most important thing in the kind of organization of our life, because without the state, without the regulations of these day-to-day things, we will not be able to live further on. Our children will not be able to live, and that is, we need our state and we need to have control over it. So we have elections coming in September this year, and that's why we were kind of trying to have an outlook of how political landscape looks like. And things we need to understand, I guess this stream will be structured a bit differently, things we need to understand about the Russian politics is that we have this United Russia Party, which is totally different from all the other parties. Actually, it is not a political party. If you just think about what political party is, you probably will have this idea that political party unites people with share some common ideology, some common views, ideas or something. United Russia Party has nothing to do with ideology. It has nothing to do with sharing same ideas. It just unites people who either work for governmental organizations or depends on governmental organizations, or find their money, their salaries or their contracts from the governmental organizations. And thus they may have different ideas on how things should be organized, but they know that once this party loses its position, once it loses this grip over what is happening in Russia, they are losing their salaries, their workplaces, their jobs, they are losing their contracts, they are losing everything. And that is why they are supporting this Единая Россия party, or maybe they are not supporting it actively, meaning they are not going to polling stations and voting for this United Party, no. But they maybe are just staying home, or they are closing their eyes, they are not getting into details how this party wins the elections. And that is why this party wins, because people, a lot of people, really a vast majority of people know, and they depend on this party. When I mention those who depend, I mean those who the situation in Russian regions, not in the larger cities, but in smaller cities, the majority of cities in Russia are small, is actually critical from the financial point of view. The people are really surviving there. And for those who work for state organizations, who work for local administrations like city, municipal administrations, regional administrations, or state-controlled enterprises or state-controlled companies, or get their contracts, they are subcontractors, they have like orders, they have the contracts, their services, their products are purchased by the state organizations, or they work for educational enterprises, or work from like medical enterprises. They all get their money from the state budget, and they all know that their workplace, their job, their salary depends on whether United Russia wins the elections. Because the bonds inside of this United Russia structure and the official, this hierarchical official structure of officials in Russia are really tight. People depend on each other, depend on the corruption ties. They depend on who supports whom and who brings, things and who hires whom. And they have like family relations already. They have friendship relations. And that is why they do support on each other. This is these bonds, these connections are really strong, and they are very stable. And people do want to keep their salary, and that is why they are not going to vote for anybody else. They know that in case this party loses this position in the parliaments, the whole system, not the system will not be changed. We'll speak about this further on. This general structure of the state will not be changed, but they will lose their position because the other people will be coming and they will bring their people, and they will bring, their families and their friends and so on. And that is why they are not strongly against this United Russia. And that is why actually everybody knows in Russia right now that United Russia is going to win these elections. For sure, they are going to have this majority. In case they are not, they will have the majority. There will be some places in the parliament occupied by the other parties, but the other parties are not questioning the politics implemented by the current administration. Actually, they have some technical or tactical amendments, like they want to change something from the point of view of financing the army, or like they will want to cut like defund the police or something like this. But they actually this doesn't contradict the politics implemented by the current regime. They are cutting the finances, they are defunding the police, and so on. So actually the ideological background, there is no ideological conflict between the ruling party and all of the other parties which are in Russia. It may probably seem to you that there are different parties, there are different political leaders, there are different people promoting some different ideas. In fact, there is not. There are not. Even if we look at the Communist Party of Russia, which looks like a natural opposition to this capitalistic regime we are having right now, like communism seems like a better idea, or at least a natural opposition idea, at least a natural other choice. But unfortunately, we've seen the Communist Party of Russia betraying this communist idea. It's not because we are like supporters of the communist ideas, but just this. We see that they are betraying this idea because they are supporting oligarchs. They are supporting really capitalistic ideas and approaches right now, and they are like using their all their influence, using all this force that they have to protect oligarch Mr. Grudinin, and this really looks like betrayal of the communist ideas, and that's why they are losing support. Actually, they are losing a lot of support among the people. And there's one thing we have to also keep in mind, is that what we are discussing right now is what is happening on this political parties landscape. It has nothing to do with what people want. what people really trust and what people really expect. We'll speak about this further on. What is happening on this political landscape is a totally orchestrated show, by directed, created, and written by the Kremlin administration. And they are right now planning how many seats in the parliament will be occupied by some party. It has nothing to do with the voters, with how the voters will vote. Unfortunately, we know, and we've seen a lot of proof to that the Central Election Committee, led by Ella Pamfilova, is likely to, present any figures that the Kremlin administration will want to. This is a kind of, reproductive organ for this current regime, which is doing what the Kremlin administration is telling them to. And that is why Ms. Pamfilova is quite strong in her position. She is not likely to move because she's proven that she will do anything which Kremlin administration tells her to. That is why the election campaign right now looks like a show, totally orchestrated show, and it doesn't have a lot of support and not a lot of trust from the people. If you think that Russian people, they come to the vote, to the polling station, and they think that we trust Putin, or we trust somebody else, and that is why we vote for United Russia or something else, you're probably a little bit incorrect, because people do not trust Putin. It's not like they want Putin to be. They trust Putin, they trust his ideas, and they want to follow the direction he's showing. It's just because people are looking around and do not see anything better than Putin, and prefer to close their eyes on how Putin wins, or how this United Russia wins, just because people do not see any other way. We know right now, and it's quite a general, total feeling among the Russians, and I don't think that it's likely that somebody will tell you we know that people do not think that they can in any way influence the result of the elections by their position. People mostly think that no matter if they come to the elections or they do not come, the figures will be the way Kremlin administrations want it to be. And that is unfortunately the truth. If you think that there are political opposition leaders who flee from Russia because of something, because they are persecuted, because there are criminal accusations against them or something, and they have some support from the people, they do not have support from the people. I mean, they may be kind of 0.5% of 0.5% of the people who support Alexei Navalny or support Dmitry Gudkov or somebody, but it's not like the number of people who are likely to influence the result of the election in any way. All of the accusations presented to those political leaders have nothing to do with politics. They have to do with real crimes, with economic crimes, taxations, or something else. And that is why, tax crimes, and that is why they are actually leaving Russia, because they know that they're guilty, and they know that they're likely to be persecuted and be to face some court restrictions because they are guilty. And speaking about, just let me finish about the political parties. So, unfortunately, we have one more party, speaking about political parties, which is Fair Russia for Truth, Fair Russia Patriots for Truth, which is led by Sergei Mironov and Zakhar Prilepin. Zakhar Prilepin's real name is Evgeny Lavlinsky. And this is a party which is likely to promote really war, because the members of this party, speaking about Zakhar Prilepin personally, took part in military events in the Ukraine, and Zakhar Prilepin himself personally spoke quite openly about this, saying that he's committed so many crimes, so many awful crimes in Ukraine, that he doesn't know how he'll be answering for this. And that is likely why he needs to get to state parliament, because being a deputy, he's sure to get immunity against criminal persecution, and that is what he needs to cover him for the crimes he's committed, as he says him personally. And other members of this party also promote this idea of somehow attaching territories of Ukraine to Russia, or somehow establishing some more influence of Russia on the territory of another country, which is actually against international regulations, against international law. Unfortunately, we have this party. We know that there are lots of that there have been lots of Russian young men and Ukrainian young men killed during these military events, and we're sure that in case this party gets some considerable number of seats in the parliaments, they're likely to somehow keep on supporting this military activity with those Russian being killed there, Russian men being killed there. We have numbers, some other parties from just general pool of these parties. One party stands out. This is the party of New People, Новые люди. It is a party, it's widely discussed in those political telegram channels. That's a party supported by the head of the Kremlin administration, Sergei Kirienko. And this really looks a very strange, very strange party, because they do not seem to have some kind of normal ideological ideas or something, but they exist. They have a lot of money, really. They waste a lot of money on their activity, on their promotion, and they are really likely to get some couple of seats in the parliament. And they say that this is a party which is the Kremlin is going to use to unite the opposition around, which really looks like, why not? Probably yes, that's how it's going to be, in case it doesn't face some real negative reaction from other political leaders or from the people. There is one more thing that you have to realize, that it's quite often that Russia is considered to be a homophobic country, like a country where LGBTQ are not welcome. And this is true. They are not welcome here. We do not support their ideas, and the vast majority call them faggots and other names like this. And we actually, they are traditionally not supported here. But unfortunately, you will see that it's not only United Russia, but there are other parties who actually promote this LGBTQ agenda, and they have members of these parties from this society, from these communities, moving forward to the parliament. We have people. We have. Some of the politicians which were quite active in promoting these ideas, and not politicians but members of parliaments, who were really quite active on promoting these ideas. So this is more like Russia, a homophobic country, is more like an image for Putin on the international arena, so that Russia would look like a normal opposition to this current capitalistic state. But unfortunately, it's not true. Russia is, generally speaking, being like the current administration is like driving Russia towards this total global LGBTQ agenda, unfortunately. There's one more thing that we need to state, is that Freemasons do make quite an essential influence of the Russian politics, because there's a party which quite loud, which is quite loud right now, and it's presented really seriously, and they also run for parliament, run for these elections for parliament. This is a party. This party has been created by. They call this a kind of political laboratory, but actually this is a Masonic lodge, official Masonic lodge of Russia, and the leader of the creator of this party is the Grand Master of the Grand Masonic Lodge of Russia. So the Freemasons' influence over the Russian politics is not a conspirology at all. This is the total truth. This is what is happening right now. And this party, this is called the Russian Party for Social Justice, led by Maxim Shevchenko. He is like a political face of this party. They also promote the Islamic agenda. They promote It's not like they promote, but they traditionally, Maxim Shevchenko is in close cooperation with Islamic communities in Russia. And considering the crisis in Afghanistan right now, unfortunately, with them being present in the parliaments, we are likely to face even more severe migrant crisis than we have now, because we have migrant crisis now in Russia. We have this tension between local people and migrants who mostly come, not mostly, but almost all of them come from Muslim countries, and we have this like huge rise in crimes committed by the migrants. That's the information presented officially by the investigation committee and other law enforcing agencies in Russia. And considering the situation in Afghanistan, and considering the role that Russian regime plays in the situation in Afghanistan, we unfortunately are likely to face even more severe migrant crisis. And this is the thing, you know, which maybe people do not understand, but actually nobody will be surprised if this happens. Because let me say it once again, and this is something you really have to understand, that things that are happening in politics, in this political landscape, or parties, candidates, you know, their election campaigns, and all these debates on the television and all that, has nothing, not at all, zero things to do with what people really are concerned about. Unfortunately, this total state that our citizens are in is like a devastation, like a depression in the political sphere, because people do not see how they can influence the political this political life. People probably will go to, some will go to the polling stations, and they will like to somehow mark out some of the parties, but this is not because they believe they can change something, but just because they think that probably something should be done. Unfortunately, that's how things look like right now. And the support that current Russian regime provides for Taliban makes us really concerned, us, the members of the Politics 2.0 movement, makes us really concerned about how things will be going from the international point of view, because Taliban is considered a terroristic organization, and it's a prohibited movement in Russia right now, according to the Russian law. And the support shown by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Sergei Lavrov, and the fact that they visited Russia recently, actually makes us think that the crisis with Taliban in Afghanistan is likely to influence the situation in Russia further on. And now please let me move to this person, Alexei Navalny, because we've seen a lot of information about him recently. He published his column in 3 different languages and 3 different media recently about the corruption in Russia. He gave an interview to the New York Times newspaper, and he promotes this idea of the corruption in Russia, and like that corruption should be persecuted. In fact, we've made a couple of talks about Alexei Navalny, and we are totally sure, and we are ready to prove this, that Alexei Navalny works in close cooperation with the Kremlin. He is in no meaning in opposition to the current regime. His ideas presented in his presidential program and his further programs do not actually contradict the economic and political programs implemented President of Russia. The facts about corruption that Navalny published, and he's been publishing a lot of information about corruptions, about those officials stealing money and buying things for their families, they have never been of any kind of surprise to the Russian citizens. We know about corruptions in our authorities, really. This is of no surprise. Probably we do not know how many apartments have some of the officials have, but we know about corruption. What we really miss, what really should be happening in Russia, is legal persecution of those corrupt officials. That is something we really need. We need the law enforcing bodies to work. And that is something they do not do. And actually, Alexei Navalny, who had claimed that he had a lot of lawyers working for him, he had his legal unit and all that, he absolutely could initiate a couple of cases against the law enforcing agency for not responding to the information about corruption. He could have filed claims to the prosecutor's office, to the investigation committee, with the details about corruption, and he's never done a single thing like this. He's never done this. Speaking about this palace for Vladimir Putin, we know that he doesn't live in a normal apartment. We know this. Okay, probably we've never known about this palace. Yes, we do not want him to live in this palace, but it's not something like surprising for us. What we really want and what we really need in Russia is law to start working, because corruption is illegal in Russia. Stealing money from the budget is illegal. And if the prosecutor's office starts working properly and the investigation committee starts working properly, then things will change. Navalny has never done anything to initiate any kind of legal prosecution for those corrupt officials, and this only makes him like a part of this current regime, of this orchestrated political show that we have. Navalny has always enjoyed a really very mild, not even mild, but very supportive attitude from the special services. He's been living in Russia, being under the restrictions imposed by the courts, and he haven't met any kind of persecution from or like obstacles from the Federal Security Service. And actually, the vast majority of people do not believe that he's been poisoned last year, because we in Russia believe in our security services, and we know that if they want to kill somebody, they do kill somebody. If somebody is still alive, then nobody wanted to kill him, really. And we've seen a lot of cases when people died suddenly, and thus we really think that it's not likely that somebody ever wanted to kill Alexei Navalny. It's more likely that something happens with his personal health, but now they keep on promoting him as a very serious figure for the Russian future. It's likely that he will play a very important part in this transition, as they call this transit of power, as they call it. Like Putin is leaving his position, and somebody is to take over the power, and it's likely that Alexei Navalny is to play some very important role with the support from the foreign media, from the foreign politicians, and having his position in the Russian internal politics. Alexei Navalny is not somebody that Russian people do trust. He doesn't have a lot of support among the Russian people, because actually he doesn't look like somebody Russians will be trusting, like just even just his general appearance. And it's more like a person created for the international audiences. So that is actually what we wanted to say about the Russian politics and how the situation looks just before the elections. We in Politics 2.0 have developed the concept, Politics 2.0 concept, because we do understand the situation is really looks really desperate from the point of view of traditional voting process. So if you just have a look and you see how things are happening, and let me just say a couple of words about this running for election process. Unfortunately, the current law in Russia doesn't allow a mere citizen, just a normal law-abiding citizen, to run for the elections, because the conditions that the law presents make that you are to collect so many signatures that it's physically impossible for a person to collect so many signatures from the supporters, from the voters. And this is the condition stated in the law, which means that law is creating an obstacle which is not stipulated in the Constitution, which makes this law anti-constitutional, but unfortunately this law is active right now. And right now, in case you want to run for election, in case you want to run for this electoral campaign, and you try to become a candidate, you need to collect 15,000 signatures which is physically impossible. Thus, you can only run for elections if you have financial and administrative support to hire people to collect these signatures for you. And one more important thing is that in case you collect these signatures and you bring them to the election committee, this process of checking these signatures actually makes you totally dependent on how they will check these signatures. It's really very hard. It's not just hard, it's impossible for you to control this in any way. And you may be present there, yes, but since they think that the signatures that you brought are not correct, you are out of these elections. You may go to court, yes, you will probably even win, but this will be next year. And thus, without the administrative support, without the financial support, you are not able to take part in these elections, which means that every candidate, no matter if a candidate calls himself a candidate from a party or an independent candidate, it doesn't matter. Every candidate comes with the support of the Kremlin administration right now. Because these elections are elections to State Duma, this is the federal organ, federal body of the Russian Federation authority, which means that it's all strictly controlled by the Kremlin administration. They want to have this control over the situation, and not a single candidate can take part in these elections without this support from the Kremlin administration. And thus, you will just simply not be able to take part in these elections. This means that all the candidates, they are filtered by the Kremlin administration. And this is something that actually most of the people do understand. And that is why it's quite clear for vast majority of people, this is like an orchestrated show, and the numbers are the numbers that Kremlin administration wants to see there. Of course, the candidates do have some competition, political competition among them. They are interested to get, the political parties are interested to get as many seats as possible. But it has nothing to do with the people. It has nothing to do with the situation people are in. But this general situation with the election, with these obstacles you face while running for the elections, actually go against the constitution, because the constitution stipulates that we, the nation, is the only source of power, and we have the right to execute our power directly. And thus we need to execute the power directly. How we can do this? And we in Politics 2.0 have already tried this, and we have this experience. We know that the only way for citizens to keep their authority and not delegate it, because elections is a process of delegating your authority, the authority that belongs to the citizen, to some candidate. So the only way to keep your authority, not to delegate it, and to have the right to execute it directly further on, is to keep your ballot paper, because the ballot paper is a constitutionally important document which proves that you're a law-abiding citizen, that you have your political rights, and you are right now you have the right to take part in the elections, you have the authority to delegate, and since you keep it, you are keeping your authority to you. It's legal according to the Russian law, and we've done this several times. We know this. It is possible to save your keep your ballot paper and not allow anybody to take it. And we know we have already experience of executing our power directly, working directly with law enforcing agencies in order to make the constitution a truly working law, the way it's supposed to be. Because the only way for us, for the citizens of Russia, to make the state back, to work back for us, for our benefit, is to make the constitution a truly effective law, the way it's supposed to be, the way it's stipulated in the constitution itself. And then we'll be able to control the situation in the state. And we do not need all those, all those deputies, all those this political caste. We don't need them. We can do everything directly with the help of modern technology and the principles of referendums. The blockchain technology, the Ethereum technology can make the process of making decisions really accessible for each citizen. And we have, the population of Russia has enough education to understand how things are going. And we do not need all those people to control us, these people sitting in Kremlin or in the just State Duma building. We can do things on our own. And that is exactly what we are doing, the members of our movement. And that's exactly what we'll be doing. We'll be keeping our ballot papers during the elections, and we'll be streaming from the elections. Please sign up to our YouTube channel and to our Instagram channel. We'll be streaming further on to tell you how things are going. So I guess that's what I wanted to say today about the political landscape in Russia right now. And if you have any questions, if you want to know more about Russian political landscape, Russian political leaders, please don't hesitate to leave your questions. We are live almost every day on our Russian language channel. But we have our English language channel. Unfortunately, we are facing obstacles from YouTube administration, because YouTube is a very important tool of this global promoting this global agenda, and they do not want us to speak about politics 2.0 or to present our outlook of the political situation, because the situation in Russia is actually important for the international situation in generally. But we keep on streaming here, and we'll be trying to provide details to you as much as we can. So thank you very much for your attention. Please leave your comments in case you need some more information. My name is Yulia Stadnichuk. Here you can see the links to our Telegram channel and to our YouTube channel. And please visit live book of Father Afanasis, because the movements appeared with the blessing of Father Afanasis, monk from Holy Mount Athos. And we've started our activities, and we are basing our activities on the things Father Afanasis wrote in his live book. So thank you very much, and see you next time.